All right, guys. So basically, I've been thinking more about what I want to do with my blue one here. I always knew I wanted to go for like a dirt bike build, but I think I'm gonna do like a dirt bike slash kinda snow build. Obviously, my red one is not made for either of those things, so kind of the best of both worlds. So this is I've been waiting for this for what feels like about a year. Maybe not quite. I feel like it's a bit of an over exaggeration, but definitely at least like 6 to 8 months. They've just been out of stock. This is the T-Rex Racing. It's engine. Well, this is an adventure cage they call it. There's also another one. I forgot what it's actually called, but this one has like a little guard kind of that goes over the fairings. The other one has like sliders that come out, but it's essentially the same thing. And this is the skid plate. So this was originally what I wanted. The thing is, the skid plate bolts to the cage. So you can't run the skid plate without the cage, but you can run the cage without the skid plate. So you have to get both, but it's definitely worth it. There's not a whole lot of skid plates for these, at least not yet. I did have the Katako one on this. I was making a video about it, and the thing is that it lasted about 6 days. And then it fell off while I was riding, and I had no idea. I didn't hear it, I didn't feel it, I didn't run it over. But this is the lower mount. It doesn't really work with the Yoshi. I had it sitting up front, so it was only bolted on here. But I did really like it. It was small, like it wasn't gonna protect all that much, but for street use, it was perfect. This is gonna cover the entire bottom. It's actually gonna, I'll give you a little bit of an idea. So these triangle pieces I don't have on, obviously, because of my rear sets. I have to modify those. But basically it removes, I think, 2 of the engine mounts. I think 2, definitely no 1, but I think both of them. And that looks like it's gonna be a problem, so that's great. So basically it's gonna bolt on there, and then it bolts to the bottom here on those. And they meet up, they kind of sandwich and they meet up. And then the skid plate bolts to the front of that, down, and then actually onto the rear sets. So I've never seen it mounted at all, actually, besides what T-Rex Racing showed. So with this one, like, I clearly have the stock exhaust, so it's made to work with that. Again, the Katako didn't really work with the Yoshi exhaust with the loop. That was like part of the problem. So with this one, I'm gonna go with like just a straight. I want to go with the high mount exhaust. I'm probably gonna make my own. It's a whole thing. So I don't know if it's gonna work with the Yoshi. It does look like there's more room than the Katako had, so that's something to consider. But I've never seen it run. Like I said, I've never seen it run on anyone's bike except for T-Rex Racing's, and it was a stock bike. So because I have the Impact Tech rear sets, I don't know if it's gonna work. I might have to trim this up a little, because if you look, I'm pretty sure it bolts there. Unless I can snake through, that's not gonna work. You might have to cut this off. Stock rear sets, obviously it's made to work with, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So I'm gonna go get the cage out, get all the hardware ready, and see if it clears, because that's gonna be an adventure of itself. All right, so like I said, you gotta remove these triangles. I think if you have the stock rear sets or even some other brand rear sets, that's really all you're gonna have to do. Since I have Impact Tech, I had to pull these off so I can get to this bolt. Well, at first I thought it was this one here. It's not that one. So it's gonna be this bolt and then this bolt. So, oh, see, I already took that off. So this is a 14 nut with a 14 bolt head. This is one of your engine mounts. You could take this out as long as the other ones are in there. So it's not gonna be a problem. As you can see, it's loose as hell right now. So take that off. This is a 12. Take that off. Go to the other side. You might have to move your ECU out of the way. This is the other bolt, also a 12, and the engine mount comes right out. So there you go. That's all the hardware that I'm pretty sure that's all they have to remove. It says remove those first. I think it wants you to start on the left side, so I got these here instructions. That's the instructions there. There's spacers we're gonna have to put on. I think we reuse a lot of the hardware. I know it came with hardware. I don't know what exactly goes to what. So I'm gonna assume your stock. Most exhausts that have the same stock setup, like I said, I don't know about the loop, like the Yoshi loop. I don't know how that'll work, but you're gonna have to, it says loosen this, take the exhaust bolt off, and then the one that hangs off your rear set, take that off. I don't think they ever dropped the exhaust. I think they left it on at the head, but they did lower it. So you're gonna have to remove that. Like I said, the plastic gotta remove those bolts. And then now I'm gonna see what's next up. I think it's mock it up, basically. Yeah, so it wants to start on the left. So I'm gonna go get the hardware, see exactly what goes where, and bolt it back on. All right, so I'm sorry it's tight, it's kind of dark. I want to show you exactly what I'm doing here. Now, it's only mocked up. It's only like hanging kind of like by itself. There's no bolts in it. So right there, in this one by the ECU, which I have this kind of just dangling so I can keep it out of the way, Gonna have to tuck that up there. Oh, oh boy, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that yet. All right, so basically for the left side, you're gonna have two washers. You got this thicker one and then the thinner one. I only saw in the instructions where to put the one thinner one. There's two of them. I'm pretty sure it goes on the same spot on both sides. You also get all new hardware. So this is your engine mount here. This is what goes to those little like frame mounts, the one I'm gonna show you right now. So I'm gonna take this thinner washer and I'm gonna put it, let me see, actually I might do this side first so you could see. Let me get this off. All right, so get that ready. This washer is gonna go between the engine and the cage. Yeah, I'm gonna need both hands to show you. But you're gonna slide this right in here. Right behind there. Okay. Now we just gotta manage. I'm probably gonna need both hands to actually get it, but you get the gist of it. So you're gonna put basically the cage, and then it's gonna be the washer, and then the frame or the engine, whichever side. Then we're gonna put that through, and then we'll go to the other side and mount that up. I'm probably gonna do the bottom ones last. You'll see they actually go like there. That's actually why they want you to drop the exhaust too, so you can actually get to that. So I'm gonna loosen that so I can drop that a little bit, and then I'll bolt them all up. All right, so just a quick little idea of the hardware. This is gonna be your new engine mount bolt. It's gonna go in through the left. You have two washers, it's gonna be one washer. Then there's a big spacer, the 15 millimeter, I think it is. It's gonna go through the engine frame onto this side of the cage, bolt down, washer there. These are the small, I think these are the M8s, I'm pretty sure. They go on the bottom, they go down here. In these holes here, there's like 4 of them down there. Cage is gonna line up, go there. And then you got the bigger one, which I know I got one on the other side. There should be one over, oh, I think I left it in there. Well, right here. Yeah, these longer ones here. I got the one in here because it said take both bolts out, I'm pretty sure. But when I did that, the frame kind of dropped. So I left this one in there to kind of hold it up a little so I can aim it on the first side and get that bolted in. So here's my problem. So when I put the engine mount that it came with, let me show you. All right. So this is what came out of it. So if you look, let me see. This is the stock one. This is the one it came with. It's a little bit longer as you'd expect. But when I put it through, it was like flush with the frame. So it wouldn't even go, I couldn't even thread it on without the other cage on that, without the cage on the other side. I couldn't even thread it on without that on. So it was way too short. So I got this for my job. It looks like it might work. It's gonna be close, but I think I still need it to be a little bit longer to like actually thread on all the way. I reached out to T-Rex Racing and he was cool about it. I think he said that these are like 140 millimeters, which should be enough. But he said he's gonna send me 160 millimeter. I don't know how long this one is that I have. I hope it's a little under 160. And once he sends me the bolt, once that one gets in here, I'll swap it out probably. So, because you want it to thread on enough. But I'm hoping that'll be enough because you definitely don't want to run it without that. But what I'm gonna do now, so that's where this one. So this is where this bolt goes. There's 2 of these. Take that bolt out. I'm gonna put it on, and what you're gonna do, I'm trying to do this with one hand, I'm sorry. You're gonna go bolt and washer, you're gonna go through the cage, then you're gonna take this spacer, put it up against this, and it's not gonna fall, you're gonna make sure it doesn't. The spacer is gonna go between this and the cage. Then you're gonna bolt that through and you're gonna hand tighten that one. The bolt I just showed you that was a little too short, that's gonna go through here. It's gonna be bolt washer, then the cage, and then this spacer here is gonna go up against this. So it's gonna be sandwiched between the cage and the engine, or frame rather. And that's gonna go through, and then on the other side it's just washer and nut. So I'm gonna go mock this up. I have an aftermarket shifter. It hangs a little bit low, just from where I have a position, so it kinda hits, it does clear. When they did it, they didn't take any of this stuff off. They just took the little triangle and just mounted it right up. It was fine. My ECU I have kind of dangling. I don't know if it wasn't mounted properly when I switched it out. I don't know. But just be aware of all these wires and stuff. I don't see why I was having a problem with the length. I don't know. I also have kind of a problem with these wires being in the way. Not really a problem, but just something to be aware of. So just make sure you're not pulling on anything. So I'm gonna mock this up, get that hand tightened, this bolt through, and then we'll go to the other side. All right, so I got it quote unquote on. I only say that because this bolt, so look, this bolt is, I don't know how much longer. I wanna say this is about 150 millimeters, because when I measured the difference, the extra 20 millimeters from the one he said he's gonna send me, it's like another 1/4 inch or so. So as you can see, that's flush with the cage. So I need threads to come out to actually thread on. So I'm hoping the extra 20 millimeters will make that, but it is on. Basically, it took a little bit of figuring out. Basically what you want to do is you want to take this whole bolt out, take this bolt out, the one down there, when it's, you know, the stock bolts, obviously. You can loosen this bolt, but keep it in. Don't take it out all the way. You're going to take this out, obviously. I think that's a nut side. Take all those out, and then you want to go back to this side. You want to start here, put the bolt. You're going to put the bolt and washer here, then the cage, then it's the spacer, and then slide that in. Then you want to get the nut, or I'm sorry, the bolt with the washer. Then it's going to be the cage, and then the spacer between that and the frame. So get that on. Hand tighten that. Push that all the way through. Make sure these are lined up. They should be if it lines up everywhere else. Then come onto this side and just mount that up. Then get this one in, hand tighten that. This should push all the way through. And then here, there's a little bar in the middle right there that'll slide in, connect them. Now, if you're only doing the cage, then that's really it. Just put there's another nut, I'm sorry, a bolt and washer that goes here. It's a bolt lock washer, then regular washer. Put that on. That'll hold this in place. I'm going to be putting the skid plate on, so I think I'm taking that off. I think I got to double check. There's still more steps, obviously, because you got to put that on. And then just put these on. These down here. Make sure there's still some play in this. That's why I said don't tighten everything down till you get all the bolts in. Then make sure these thread in as much as you can. Put blue Loctite on all these. The other side, this. Blue Loctite on everything. Then tighten them down. These bolts here, the M8s. So it's the 4 here, this one, and on the other side. Those all get torqued to 15 foot-pounds. These two get torqued to 8 foot-pounds, and then this one gets torqued to 35 foot-pounds. I know I'm missing a bolt there. That's separate. Don't worry about that. So here's the thing. If you're running stock rear sets, I'm pretty sure the only thing I have to remove is this triangle piece. Like I mentioned before, I clearly have Impact Tech. Got a little bit of a problem, and it doesn't clear. So if you're running Impact Tech, I can't say for certain yet. It looks like I'm going to have to cut this whole triangle off up here. Maybe even Dremel out a little of that middle piece. But the other side, it does clear. I never actually removed this. I never removed that. So that's fine there. You don't have to worry about that. But I can't speak for other rear sets. I haven't heard anything about this. I've never heard anyone run this. So this is all pretty much new to everyone, to my knowledge. But not the end of the world. That actually saves me from having to trim my piece up here. I mean, I'd rather trim that than this, but it's minimal. You know what I mean? You probably won't even notice it. So yeah, from here, I'm going to get the exhaust back on. Like I said, if you're just doing the cage, you're done now. You know, just get everything back on, put the exhaust. I'm doing the skid plates, so I think I fully mount the exhaust. But before I do that, I have to figure out what I'm doing with this, because the skid plate actually bolts to the rear set. So I need this in place. It looks like there's going to be hanging brackets that come off. And then you mount the skid plate up here, bring it down, connect to these, and I think that's really all there is for the skid plate. So bottom line though, I do love it. It's definitely solid. You get these little slider pieces that are removable, so if it falls, you could just replace these. I'm sure you can get them on the website. It protects your fairings a little bit. Definitely really nice. Like, it definitely stands out, but it's kind of minimal at the same time. And looks like it'll definitely protect a lot, which I love. So I'm gonna go get the skid plate, see about getting that mounted up, and I'm probably gonna start cutting my my rear sets now. All right, so this is all the hardware for the plate. Basically, these brackets are gonna go onto the lower part of the rear sets with these little spacers. And then this is if you have the crash cage, I think, with the pucks on them. You'll basically take that center bar out and put this in place, so you get these little hanging brackets right there, and then screw the pucks on the ends. But with the adventure cage, you don't even have to use that. It's already on there. And then these hold the actual plate, I think. Yeah, these hold the plate to the brackets, and also on the front, right in these. Or again, on the adventure cage, the drop down, the little hanging brackets are already on there. So I'm gonna go put these on. I already got the cage over here. So basically, it should still work with these. With the stock one, obviously it's going to be a 12. So I'm going to take this bolt out, and I'm going to put this, how does this go? I think this way? No, this way. You're going to want it like this, going in. And then you're going to put the spacer here. Oh, all right. So it's going to go like that on both sides. You want the bracket going in and the spacer up against the rear set and the bracket. All right, so skid plate takes all of just a few seconds. So because I have the Impact Tech rear sets, it's a little different. So with stock ones, look, you have this one, just a straight little like LZ bracket, whatever. Then on this side, ooh, it's got like a little bit of a wave to it, kind of. See how it kind of curves down? So the left side gets the wave one, the right side gets the straight one. Oop. Okay, so let's just throw this over. Turns out I didn't really notice this at first, but the spacers are different sizes. So this side, the left side gets the 14 and the right side gets the 18. It's a little bit bigger. And like I said, you're going to put the bolt on with the bracket, and then the spacer goes behind the bracket in front of the rear set. Because I have the Impact Tech ones, I didn't even use those. I just put the new hardware right into the rear set. Had this go down, met at the bottom here. And then up here, like I said, with the Adventure cage, it's just going to bolt right onto these holes. And then if you have the other one, like the Crash cage, there's like a mid bar that comes out of here. That's where you put the new one in, and you attach the pucks to that side. And that's really it. I did put a washer here because I felt like it was crooked a little. Not this washer. You have to put that on no matter what. But there's a washer in between the end of the bracket and the skid plate, like right over here. So I put that on just because I felt like it was like tweaked a little bit. But yeah, that's really it. This side, same thing. No washer though, just straight into that. So it's going to go skid plate, and then the bracket goes behind it. You thread into the bracket. So I'm going to put blue Loctite on all this hardware. I'm going to end up putting this in that does actually go on. So I'm going to have to tighten these up. These go to 8 foot-pounds, and these I think are all 15, like the other one. I don't think it says. I'm going to look. I'll put it in the description if I see what the torque spec is. I'm going to guess it's 15 because that's what the other ones were. So yeah, that's it. Just make sure everything's tight. Blue Loctite on all the hardware. And don't forget this, if you have the Adventure cage, you definitely want to get that other bolt in there. But yeah, all in all, I love it. It's sturdy. I just got to get that middle bolt. So it's the only thing to really keep an eye out. See if that bolt works before you do everything. And if it isn't, you have to get a longer one to make sure that fits. But he's sending me one, so throw that in when it gets here. And that's it. All right, so it's been a little while since I installed this. I ran into a few issues while I was installing it. The starting thing was the bolt. The 160 millimeter bolt that he sent me totally fixed that. It was all good. I don't know why, because on their video, I'm sure they used the 140. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that, but someone did in the group, I think while my new bolt was being shipped out, mentioned they had the same problem. And I just said I reached out. They were cool about it. They sent me a bigger bolt, and that did fix the problem. So another problem I had, so depending on what your setup is, like I mentioned, I'm running the Impact Tech rear sets. So on the left side, I just put a washer, used their new, I'm pretty sure that was new hardware. It had to have been. Washer on the outside, and it's like a, this is the bracket. It like kind of twists at the end. You can kind of see. So that's the left side bracket. And then this is the right side bracket. It's like a little bit more of just like a regular Z shape. See what I'm saying? So that's right side. So here was my issue. I didn't use any washers. This side, or any spacers rather. This side, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I didn't even put a washer on the rear set side, just on the side with the bolt. I'm pretty sure, I don't have the instructions in front of me. I'm pretty sure that you use the bigger washer on the right side. Pretty sure. So there's two different size washers. Just check the instructions on that. A problem that I noticed was that even though I got the bigger bolt and everything mounted up fine, the spacer that goes here on the engine mount side wasn't big enough. So it actually had, once everything was tightened down, there was actually play on it. Like I had it all torqued down to spec and everything, and I just so happened to notice that the spacer was doing nothing. So I thought that was kind of weird. So what I ended up doing, I actually, this is where like your problem might come in. Like I did mention it to him, so I'm sure he's gonna like fix it. I don't know if he's gonna update the package or whatever. I didn't like follow up, but he was aware of it. So, and he seemed like he was gonna do something. So what I did was I took the bigger spacer for the rear set that I didn't use because I don't have stock rear sets, and I went to put that on, and it just so happens that's like the perfect size. But the problem with that was that the hole for the bolt isn't big enough because this bolt is a lot smaller than the engine mount bolt. So I had to drill, I don't remember what size drill bit I used. I just drilled it out so it was wide enough, put that in there on the engine mount, and it worked like a charm. So that's what I did. The problem though is that if you have stock rear sets, you're gonna be using that spacer for the rear sets. So hopefully he updates it, but that was really the only problems that I had. Few clearance things, like I had a personal problem with my exhaust. Well, it was kind of backwards. I had to make my exhaust work with the cage. That's totally different. I'll probably do something on that later on. But overall, it really was not a bad install. It was really good. Hopefully the package gets updated. You can see there's, I mean, that's enough threads. I do kind of wish it came out a little bit more, but I'm not worried about it by any means. But yeah, the spacers are definitely a little bit of a problem, but I do think that he's working on that. So overall, I'm happy with it. It's solid. Like, it's definitely on there. You can replace these if it falls. So that's definitely a cool little feature. And it looks really nice, honestly. And the skid plate's really, really cool, to be honest. Like, it definitely protects a lot. Looks really good. Definitely changes the whole look of the bike. So overall, I'm happy with it. And like I said, T-Rex Racing, he's a really cool guy. He understood everything. He sent me out the new bolt like right away. So shout out to him. Definitely a cool guy. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully he just updates the package. It was really, there was only two little things and nothing you can't really just work around. So hopefully this helps someone out. And if you have any questions, feel free to just let me know. All right, I'll see you guys later.